Go. Welcome, everyone. Tonight is our Doctor of Education session on creating a strong application. So tonight we have several people joining us, and they will be able to answer some of your questions, hopefully all of them. I am Patricia Danilek, and I am one of the graduate program directors in graduate programs with Werklund. And we have Stacy here with us tonight, and she is the team lead in the graduate programs office. And Rana, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Rana Mosier, and I am the director of the professional programs in graduate education, which includes both the Master of Education and the program that you're interested in, the Doctor of Education. So I'm happy to see you, and hopefully we get to connect again another time along the way.
Great. And Lisa, thank you for joining us, Lisa. So Lisa is here with us tonight. She is one of the graduate program administrators in the office. And do you want to just say hi, Lisa? Oh, sorry.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa. I work in graduate programs. As Dr. Dunlap said, I look after the adult learning and the post-secondary leadership context programs in EDU.
Thank you, Lisa. And Lisa will be answering some of your questions in question and answer that you type in your questions, and she'll be responding to some of those. But before we begin tonight, I would like to begin by sharing our land acknowledgement. We're here in Calgary. Many of you will be joining us from other parts of the country, or maybe even from other countries. But before we begin, we'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge that we are on the traditional territories of the people of Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta. This area is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta. So wherever you are, we invite you to think about the place where you're located and the people, the original people of that land, and also the calls to action that your work may be implicated by, and how that impacts your educational practice. I know for me, I was born in Alberta and have actually worked with Indigenous groups all over Canada, and am very happy to be back in Alberta once again. So I every day I appreciate where I am and how fortunate I am to be in Treaty 7 region. So we've already introduced ourselves. So let's talk about our agenda tonight. So tonight we're going to talk about the different sections of the application that you will be completing. So the first part, of course, is the 500-word statement. Then we'll get into program-specific questions that you're asked in the application about your relevant experience for each specialization, the degree requirements, and the graduate program application marks that you need to have, other test scores, including English language proficiency, the admissions portfolio, your transcripts, and your referees. And then after we talk about all of those different areas, we're going to have time for questions at the end. So let's begin by talking about your 500-word statement of intent. So you'll want to make sure that you identify the reasons that you're pursuing this degree. So it's not enough to just write about yourself. The people reviewing the applications want to know why you chose this specific program. So outline how your research interests and your goals align with the specialization that you're applying to tonight. And Stacy, can you remind everyone what specializations we're taking applications for this year?
The specializations we're taking applications for are adult learning, K-12 leadership, and I don't have the learning sciences. That's correct.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
So your application for each of those specializations would look a little bit different because you would tailor it to that specialization. So you want to identify if you've done prior research. Some of you will have if you've done a thesis in your master's program, and also talk about teaching and leadership experiences that you have. For many of you, that will come naturally because many of you are teachers, and any publications that you've had, awards or other kinds of recognitions that you would bring to your application. And we use all of this information to determine how you're aligned with the specialization, whether it's a good fit, and also to find faculty members who we think would be good supervisors, potential supervisors for you, and whose research area also aligns with something you're interested in. So we take a lot of time considering that. And your statement of intent helps us to determine who's the best fit for you. So again, explain why you're interested in specialization, describe the passion that you have for this topic, how it aligns with what you see as your professional background and experiences and future in terms of your career path. Again, I said, make sure it's specific to the program. And of course, writing counts and spelling counts. So we want you to spend time making sure that you put forward your best writing in the application, because we do consider that. So one of the questions you'll be asked is, please list any academic awards, achievements, honors, or other distinctions you may have received. And for many people, they have not received an academic award or achievement, and that's okay. Just in that spot, maybe put something that you've been recognized for at work. And that would also fit into, accomplishments in that area. So it could be something from work, it could be something that you've done in terms of volunteer work, but try not to leave it blank. The next question is, please list any academic or professional publications, scholarly or professional conference presentations, or other scholarly activities that you have completed. So this can be presentations that you've done to a group of teachers, for example, if you've been asked to share some of your work and your ideas. It can be something you've presented at a conference. And for many of you, you've presented maybe at teachers' conferences, and you can put that down. Some people will have professional publications in journals or chapters that they've written. Others will have practitioner publications, so something that you've maybe written for teachers or for other people in your other adult educators, for example, or other people working in the learning sciences. And if you don't have any of those things, then list some of your accomplishments from your work. And again, it's not a good idea to leave that section blank. We want to get to know you as a person as well as we can. So filling out each part of the application is crucial to developing a better understanding of who you are and why you belong in this program. So you're also asked to identify any academic or professional organizations you're affiliated with. For many of us, that would be the Alberta Teachers Association. Or it could be other associations or groups that you, professional groups that you belong to. And then question 4 asks you to list professional employment and career experience that relates to your chosen program of study. So this is ideally presented sequentially. So a description of your background experiences, whether it be teaching, research, and how that relates to the program that you're applying to. professional background and experiences also relate to your statement of intent. So try to showcase that you have previous experience in that specific specialization or some connections to it, or an interest in it, why you have an interest in it. Question 5 states that the program is very demanding and requires both time and commitment. So if you do plan to work full-time while pursuing this, please outline in 200 words how you plan to balance this. So this is important, and it's important for us to say in the application so that you know that this is a full-time program. And if you are working full-time, then you realize that this will be demanding and challenging. And so that means you will have to make some adjustments in your life. And we want to hear about how you think this is all going to work for you. And for each of us, this is different. Some people are morning people, some people are night people, some people would use their summer holidays to do the majority of their writing. Some people like to write a bit every day. So we want to make sure that you acknowledge this and understand that these programs are demanding. And most of the people that are doing the EDD, I think I can safely say, are working. So it is possible. It is definitely possible, but that doesn't mean it's easy. It's going to be a challenge. I can tell you some stories about that from my own life, but I remember getting up at 4 a.m. sometimes. Okay, and then it says, please add any other information that's important for the admissions committee to understand or use in evaluating your graduate application. So this is several people on the admissions committee who are looking at your application. So if there's other credentials or information that you think we need to know about, please include that. Yeah, and you don't have to write anything in this section if you feel you've covered everything. But for many of us, there will be weaknesses that we think might keep us from being admitted into a program like this. So I've already heard from several students this year. I'm worried about, my GPA was not that great at the beginning when I was young and maybe not as focused and things like that. And so just address that. It's okay. Hey, I've been there myself. my grades from my first 2 years were not stellar, but over time I was able to improve them. So if you do have a low GPA, just talk about it and talk about, sometimes there's also things going on in the background or in our lives that perhaps you had to work full time at the same time, or other things that were impacting you. You might also not have a lot of work experience. And so instead of ignoring that, address it and say, why you don't have a lot of work experience. Perhaps you're coming, it's only been 1 year since you completed your master's or something like that. And just explain that so that the evaluators can look at your application and get a good understanding for who you are and maybe why this looks the way it does. So again, be honest about it. Don't try to hope that maybe we won't notice, because we probably will notice if there's a gap, and try to address that before people jump to conclusions, kind of thing. So always be honest and and advocate for yourself.
Thank you, Patricia. My name's Stacey Goliath, team lead in GPA in the GPE office, and I'm going to present the next few slides. So the next slide that we're going to talk about is degree requirement in GPA. The degree requirement for an EdD is a course or thesis-based master's in an appropriate field. When we say the statement in an appropriate field, it means you can apply to the program with a master's degree in any field. However, if your master's degree or field specialization doesn't match the ED specialization, it would be important for you to use your statement of intent to make that connection. Make that connection and clearly demonstrate the connection between your master's work and the ED specialization that you'd like to move into. The statement of intent should be education, should have an education focus. In terms of the GPA, we do at the University of Calgary, we do not convert the grades to the University of Calgary scale. The GPA calculation is based on the grading scale for the institution, and we get that information from the back of your transcript. Next slide, Patricia. The next section we're going to talk about is English language proficiency. So applicants who choose study permit, work permit, refugee or other citizenship in their application will be required to complete an ELP. All official test scores must be submitted to the department to which you are applying directly from the testing agency. And applicants who choose Canadian permanent residence or indicate that their post-secondary degree was obtained in Canada or the US will not be asked to complete an ELP score. Next slide. The admission portfolio. Applicants to the Doctor of Education program are strongly encouraged to submit an admission portfolio containing examples of their work. The purpose of the admission portfolio is to give applicants the opportunity to provide additional documentation that demonstrates their suitability and qualifications for doctoral studies. Applicants who have a thesis-based master's and would like to submit an admission portfolio, we ask that you submit the thesis methodology chapter only. And for applicants who have completed a course-based master's, then we ask that you submit the capstone paper or research project. This document is uploaded as a PDF to your application. Next slide. Transcripts. For transcript, if offered admission, applicants must submit an official transcript for all post-secondary institutions listed. Transfer credit courses. Even if the transfer credit course is listed on the transcript for the institution where the degree was awarded, a transcript from the institution where the transfer credit was taken or completed will be required as well. So it might be listed on your transcript, but you're still going to have to submit an additional one. In terms of official transcripts are needed to finalize your admission application. And unofficial transcripts are used for the initial evaluation process. You submit one copy of your unofficial transcript with the grading scale and transcript legend for all post-secondary institutions to your online application. And next slide. Referees. References are due by the application deadline. To complete your online application early to give your referee sufficient time to submit the reference. Referees will receive notification on how to submit the reference after your application is submitted, and that reference is still due no matter when you submit your application by the application deadline. And we provide resources on how to find a good referee on our website, and you can find that in the How to Apply section of our website. And I think that's the end of the formal part of our presentation. So if you have any questions specific to what we've presented, or if you've come to our presentation with some questions, this would be your opportunity to ask them.
Thanks, Stacy. So I don't see any questions in the Q&A. Maybe you've answered them all. Have you, Lisa? Oh, here's one. Okay.
I can't see any actually, so.
Okay, I just see one here. It says I have an MED as well as an MA. My MA was in philosophy. Yes, I think an introductory chapter would be sufficient in this case, yes. We just want to see, what the name of your thesis is, how you write, kind of thing. If you're out of the province, how do you suggest we send transcripts? I'll turn that over to Stacy.
So if you're out of pop, so when you're submitting transcripts, so unofficial transcripts, you submit that straight to your application. And if you're ordering your official transcripts, you'll contact the institution that you completed your post-secondary at and request that they send those official transcripts straight to the University of Calgary. And all that information is on our website in, again, our How to Apply section.
So Mindy is asking if she finishes her MEd in spring, can she apply for fall? And I think so, right?
Yep, you can have a program that's in progress while you are submitting your application. If your program isn't complete before an offer is sent, then your offer will be conditional upon you completing all of your programs.
Okay, Julie is asking, is the application portfolio similar to what I've submitted for tenure and promotion? In some way, yeah, but hopefully not as long and not as difficult because yeah, we all know if you've been through tenure and promotion, you know what that's like. So it's much shorter. And it's
much
really,
shorter.
yeah, showcasing why you would want to be in this program as opposed to proving everything that you've done.
Exactly, and that's why we provided what we think are the best examples of work that you can put forward, and that's why we just asked for one, and we don't need all of the examples. But yeah, just like Patricia said, it's really just for us to get a sense of your writing and something that we could really, that has some critical writing in it.
But you could certainly draw from your tenure package for sure, I would think. Okay, referees. Will the referees receive an email after I submit my application?
Yes, the referee receives, so you submit your application and 24 hours later, the referee will get an email with a link to the reference form, and they'll complete the reference form, and then they have a link that's sent to them so that they can submit that reference straight to your application. Mm-hmm. That's why we recommend that you submit your application so that your referee has a good amount of time to receive that link, look at the questions, and complete it in enough time.
Patricia, I can't respond to the chat questions, but there's a couple. Somebody asked about how English language test requirements exemptions if I did my previous degrees in English. So just have a look at the what are the language requirements under the frequently asked questions. There are some, if you've done a graduate degree in English, then you could be exempt from ELP, for instance. And so there's lots of information on our website about that. And then someone asked, are transcripts from all institutions, including bachelor and master's programs, required? Any school that you've attended, you have to submit transcripts.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Which means for
any
some
credentialed institution. I guess we just want to make that point clear, because some people will do professional development courses, but we want something where you've received a credit for that course.
That's very important.
I'm typing answers as fast as I can in the chat. If people can use the Q&A for the questions, it's so much easier to make sure that we've responded to.
Great, thank you very much. So someone said my master's was 20 years ago. The references are in older citation format. Is this okay? Yes, absolutely. We're not checking references to make sure they're in APA 7 or anything. Absolutely, don't even worry about that. Okay, my institution uses my creds. I don't know what that is. Do you know, Stacy or Lisa?
Yeah, it's a transfer, a transcript transfer system. So a lot of universities, pardon me, especially in Alberta, will send transcripts via MyCreds
Yes.
to the
Okay.
Faculty of Graduate Studies.
So they can use that service.
Yeah.
Totally.
Correct.
So what
yeah.
happens with those, the Faculty of Graduate Studies, well, all transcripts really, they'll upload the official transcripts they received into the document system, the EDMS it's called, and we can access your transcripts from there.
So someone else is asking, official transcripts are not necessary till after my program acceptance offer. They're asking, is
Yes.
this true?
Yes.
Yes, we do use your unofficial for the initial evaluation process. The only time we'll ask for official transcripts is if your unofficial transcript doesn't provide us all the details that we need in order to complete a GPA calculation. But for the most part, if you are able to provide your, and we have all of the details on, again, on our website on the how to apply page, and we itemize all of the items that need to be visible on your unofficial transcript. And if you can't have those items visible, then we would ask for you to submit your official one. But the official transcript is used to finalize your admission.
Okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
those details would be in your offer letter, your official offer letter, and there'll be a date in the offer letter that states when the official transcripts have to be received by the Faculty of Graduate Studies.
Correct.
So then someone else is asking, I should give my references a month notice. Is it too late to ask for this year? No, it's not too late to ask for this year. But the sooner that you can ask them, the better, because it'll take a bit of time for them to get that link and to respond to it. And so the more time, the better. How strict is the 500 word limit? I'm not sure what happens if you go over 500.
I don't think anything happens. The system won't stop you, but we are asking that, I mean, the 500 word limit is really so that people can provide focused and concise statements. But if you happen to write 600 amazing words, that works too.
But not too long, because
But not too long.
if you go to 700, then we might be thinking, well, why can't this person be more succinct in their writing? So try to like 502, 540, that's fine, but try not to get too long. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the difference between an EDD and a PhD? So an EDD is usually focused on a practical, a problem of practice. And a PhD is more concerned with theoretical questions. Would you like to also comment on that, Rana? Because I know that different people have different ways of explaining that.
Yeah, I think there's a different focus in the kind of research you do, where the idea is really focused on practical professional problems and experiences, and the courses that prepare you to do that. It's a structured, sequenced program, where the PhD, your courses are chosen. You and your supervisor figure out what's best for you, and the PhD is it is more competitive and has limited spaces, where an EdD has a more generous approach to students' backgrounds and capacities and goals and what they want to accomplish.
And also the PhD, students need to be here. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rana. They need to be here. And
there is a residency requirement, yes.
Yeah. And also they need to be available to do other things, perhaps teach a course or something like that.
Yeah, and there's funding associated with PhD students that you receive, PhD students receive funding in in exchange for other forms of labor and service and scholarship applications and things like that, where EdDs have less opportunity for those kind of experiences. Not that you don't have those opportunities, but because EdD students are frequently working full-time, they just don't have the space in their life to be able to participate in some of those other things.
Thank you. Okay, I've already submitted my online application, but missed including some of the expanded items. They are detailed in my CV and my statement of intent. Is this a problem? Can that person go back to their application, or should they just leave it the way it is?
You can't go back to your application, I would say, because the information is in your CV and your statement of intent. Your whole package is going to be reviewed. So the academic reviewers will be able to see those details. So I would say it's fine.
Okay, thank you. And then there's a question about the admissions portfolio is recommended but not required. Can you speak to this? Can you talk about that, Stacy?
Why it's recommended and not required?
Yeah, and how
Yeah.
this component of the application is evaluated.
So I'm not sure how the application is, all the components of the application are evaluated. So it's not like one is necessarily given more weight. So if you don't provide an admissions portfolio, it doesn't mean that you're going to be it's going to be a detriment to you. This is just another opportunity that we're giving to applicants to provide more information. And it really is more geared towards those applicants who might have a gap in their application. For example, if you're, like we've mentioned before, if your degree is course-based and not thesis-based, you might want to provide just a bit more information. If your GPA is slightly lower than the required GPA, this is an opportunity for you to explain that in your statement of intent, and then an opportunity to provide more evidence of your writing and your learning and the things that you've done. So everything is taken as a whole package, but it's not like applicants who don't submit an admission portfolio that it's a detriment to you. It's just another opportunity.
Thank you. And so another second part of that question is, are you just looking at the sample piece of writing for the writing quality? And yes, we're looking at writing quality, but we're also interested in the topic too, because it might be connected to the specialization that you're applying for. So, and even if it's not, we're still interested. We want to see it and see where it might have some parallels or some links. Question on fees and scholarships. Who should they contact?
I would say for those questions, contact the graduate programs administrator, and they can direct you from there. They'll likely send you some links to the Faculty of Graduate Studies and to the calendar, and be able to provide you information on how the fees break down. And in terms of scholarships, again, they'll be able to point you in the right direction and provide you all the resources. So your GPA would be your first contact for those questions.
And one person is asking if we can email this slideshow, but I think what we would probably prefer to do is we will post it on the website and you will have access to it at any time.
Yes.
Okay. So do you look at lots of questions? This is great. Do you look at GPA for the master's or the entire post-secondary experience?
So for our applications, we do a GPA calculation on all of your degrees, but the GPA for the degree that you're being admitted on, which is your master's degree, is the one that's being taken into consideration for that 3.5 GPA requirement.
Okay. And Tracy's question here. Can you see this one, Stacy? A little bit complicated.
Yes. Let me just read through it.
I guess if you're applying to adult education, this might matter. So you mean, I think what Stacy's saying is that she was given credit for 2 courses, I'm guessing, and so it would just say equivalency or something like that.
We can update, I would say connect with your GPA on that. We can update to your application if it's not a transcript that we require. But it's good that you listed all post-secondaries that you attended, and then we could waive that requirement if needed.
Great, thank you. Okay, and is there anything left in the Q&A, Rhonda, that, or Lisa, that we should address?
Candace asked if the program specific questions within the application process, or should they be included in the letter of intent? There are several program specific questions that are part of the application. So I would recommend that you answer those questions specifically at that spot in the application. And then she says she would like to include her entire master's research paper in my portfolio. Is that welcome or discouraged?
You can put it in there. I guess you can put it in there, but if it's like 300 pages, just so you know, we're not going to read the whole 300 pages, but you can upload it, sure.
It's really, as Stacy mentioned earlier, important that you provide concise and focused information, and help people know what you want them to pay attention to. If you put in the whole, like an entire 150-page document, people won't be sure what you're trying to highlight, and that's if they read the whole thing. So it's better to give people the best information, not the most information.
That's great. Thank you, Rhonda. That's great advice.
And Deb asked if there will be teaching opportunities for EdD students in the program.
Teaching opportunities? No. No, there will not be teaching opportunities for, we do have, we do have some EDD students that do teach in the undergrad program.
Yeah,
Bachelor of
but
Education.
rarely.
But it's, again, that's a competitive process to apply to be a sessional. So yeah, you're definitely not guaranteed that at all.
And it would be more likely for EdD students who are past their candidacy, not for students who are still taking their courses.
There's another question, where do I upload the letter of intent? So once you've submitted your online application, you'll receive an email from the University of Calgary acknowledging receipt of your application that you submitted online. And in that email will be detailed instructions on how you upload all of your supporting documents to your application.
Okay, this looks great. I can't see anything that my end goal is to teach at a university. Should I pursue an EDD or a PhD? I think you should talk to the people at the university that you want to teach at and ask them what they would like.
Yeah. We have faculty members at Werklund who have EDs, so it is definitely in the running. We have a few more things in the Q&A. Must you complete your application in one sitting?
No, I believe
No.
you can save and go back to it. So oftentimes people will copy the questions and then type it out in Word and then go back and copy and paste. And if they need time to think about it and add a bit more research to it. That's why, again, we encourage people to submit their applications and start their applications as soon as possible.
And Mindy is asking if references are academic, professional, or
we have a blend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be professional or academic. I would say if you're recently out of school, that we would want one of your references to at least be academic. I think it's within like the last 5 years or so, but that's often not the case. So definitely a blend of professional and academic is what we see typically.
And
Wonderful.
referees must be in a position of authority, not a colleague.
Okay, so you want to make sure that you click submit as soon as possible, but definitely before December the 1st, because late applications are not accepted. Make sure that you apply early, because your referees, etc., will need time to complete that reference. So the more time you give them, the better. If you don't give them enough time, you might not get those references in on time. So, yeah.
Applications that are, sorry, Patricia, that are
Sure.
missing documents are any kind of documents, ELP or referee references, unofficial transcripts. Those applications are considered incomplete and they won't go forward for review.
So if you're not sure if something should be included, make sure you ask. Don't just think that that we won't notice or something like that, because we don't want to see you not considered because you're missing a transcript or something like that. Okay, lovely. Well, thank you everyone for attending, and thank you to these ladies that have supported us tonight and answered all these difficult questions. And if you do have any further questions, you can contact one of us and we will try to, so obviously the questions about transcripts and applications would go to Stacy or Lisa. And we hope you all apply. And I know I've heard wonderful things about the work that Stacy and Lisa do with our students. And so if you do come to the University of Calgary, you know you'll be well supported. And that's everything for tonight. So have a wonderful evening, and we hope to see you in person. Good night, everyone.
Great. Good night.